Welcome. It's 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. The Tooele City Council and Redevelopment Agency of Tooele City are meeting in a work meeting. This meeting is being held at Tooele City Hall in the council chambers located at 90 North Main Street in Tooele, Utah. We are also streaming this electronically on the Tooele City YouTube channel. We will start with a roll call. Councilwoman Manzione.
Present.
Councilwoman Goches.
Present.
Councilman Hanson.
Present.
Councilman McCall.
Present.
I'm Councilman Brady, and I'm also present. We'll move on to item 3, which is the mayor's report.
Thank you, Chairman and Council. This has been a really great week at Tooele City. We've involved a lot of volunteers, and so I've just got 3 events that I wanted to report on, and we've got at least a picture for each of those that we want to show to you. The first of these are, we did our Arbor Day celebration. It wasn't on Arbor Day, but it was sure a wonderful event, and as you can see, there's just some great big trees there that we had over 30 of our residents participate in this, volunteered. They came down and helped to plant 22 trees along the Glen Eagles Park. We're going to be doing some improvements to that park. We've had a hard time with the watering because there was not a large enough water line coming into that park to cover and get it done. So we're going to put in some new water lines. And then hopefully in a couple of months when we bring budgets are finalized, we'll be bringing back some other projects for you at that park. But each of those families that came and helped plant trees, each received a tree also, so that they could take those home and plant them in our yards or in their yards. So we were very thrilled. It was a great event. The next event that we did was on Saturday. That was our Take Pride Tooele Day, and we just asked residents if they would come up to the Tooele Valley Museum, up where the train is. We had over 100 volunteers come up between 9 a.m. and 11. And although that part of the event kind of ended, many people still stayed around and just kept cleaning. And that's a large park. It is now open every day except Sundays. So we welcome people to come up. But there was a lot of things going on. But it is so beautiful. We just really we're grateful for all of the groups that came. There were several businesses that came with their employees and families and church groups, and we were just very grateful for their help. And it was really pretty good weather too. The clouds covered up the sun for a while, so we were able to work, and it was really nice. The last event happened just yesterday. This is our 10th Buffalo unveiling. This Buffalo was sponsored by Chartway Credit Union. And this is down at the Tooele City Library. And as you can see in the picture there, if you're familiar with that southwest corner of the property, we have just had some stamped concrete put down there. As you can see, that's around the Buffalo there. We're getting rid of some of the sod that really we don't use, and so we're going to save water by putting in some concrete there. But we also have a couple of trees there, and below the trees or underneath the trees, we will have some picnic tables. So we hope that people will go down, and if you will notice too, in the photograph, the buffalo is kind of facing east, and we decided that it really fit better another direction. So when you go down now, it's facing southwest, so that you can really see the Chartway logo on it. But the artist is there in the photo along with the CEO of Chartway. Brian Schools is there in the middle with our library director, Chase, and myself and some of the city council members. So it was a very great event. It's always fun to listen to the artist at why they painted what they painted and what it means. And she talked about the horns and the little stripe along the middle of the buffalo there. She painted those gold. She said gold stands for faith, and that our community is built on the faith of how wonderful that our community can be and how the people are. And then she says there's a lot of other things that are painted on there that have special meaning. She didn't really explain all of them, just saying that her and her group, as they painted it, that has already touched lives and changed changed lives. So we were just really impressed by this one. So that's our last one, and that's all I have to report tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Nguyen. We'll move on to our council member reports. We'll start with Councilwoman Manzione.
Okay. I attended those same events. It was really great. I was at the tree planting for about an hour, and there were 22 trees, and in that first hour, I think 15 of them were in the ground, so we had some good help, and people, pregnant ladies and small children and families. It was awesome, so appreciate the work there and at the park as well. I wanted everybody to know that the Arts Council has hired a new executive director. His name is Cade. I'm sure once he officially starts, he'll be in to meet everybody. But so they're moving along with Alicia left, and he has been hired. And then I have attended the Technical College graduation. It's always a great event. I think they're just a good addition to the economic development of our community, and they work with the city really well. And so I was happy to go and support them. They had more graduates than they've ever had before, so that's good news for them and for us, because all of those people will be entering the workforce in our community. And then lastly, I've met with Councilman Hanson and I met with a resident and with some city staff, and the resident had some concerns, and I'm just always appreciative of the staff's willingness to meet together and see if we can work things out and work things through for the betterment of the city, but also for our residents there. So I appreciate that discussion. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Goches.
Thank you, Chairman. I was out of town for the first part of the week. I missed the Arbor Day celebration, but it looked really fun. I did attend the Tooele Applied Technology commencement, as well as Marisa, and it was really fun. I had a grandson that graduated, so I'm very proud of him and all those who graduated. On Monday, the 19th, I did attend the Buffalo unveiling of the Chartway Federal Credit Union at the Tooele City Library. It's really impressive, and I was pleased to see the change of direction. It was beautiful. Also, now that school is out, there are experiences that are available at the library. So I just encourage people to go on Facebook and Instagram and X to find out what experiences are available and challenges for adults and children. Today, I attended the Legislative Policy Committee meeting. The meeting did have a to-do list. I can discuss that with council and staff later, but the first one that they had was Faces and Places, and that was inviting our legislative partners to events in our community to try to build relationships. One was subdivision status and making sure that we had achieved the requirements in, I believe, SB 174. There's a research request. There was a housing and homelessness assignment, also a revenue review, and water everywhere as part of the Legislative Policy Committee. And so they would like us to be able to reach out to, let me see who it was. Anyway, we need to, there's a toolkit. Let Justin Lee know at the League of Cities and Towns if the Legislative Auditor General, the OLAG, contacts us regarding distribution and water rights and their other assignments. So that was a good meeting to attend. That concludes my report, unless anyone has any questions now.
Thank you. Councilman Hanson.
Agree with Marisa. We had a good meeting today with the resident, and the staff is awesome to work with, so we appreciate them and working with Marisa on that. And then Planning Commission last week was really robust, lots of talk and lots of debate about certain things, and I totally enjoyed it. It was a good Planning Commission meeting, so them guys always do a great job, and glad to be there. That's my report.
Councilman McCall.
I did attend the COG last week. I did attend the Buffalo Arts Council. I played in Mayor's Golf Scramble, and also with the CJC's Children's Justice Center Golf Scramble. And thanks again, Chief Day, for letting some of your officers play with me. Not play with me, but golf with me. Let me get it. And we had fun. It was a lot of fun. And it was nice to know that some of the officers golfed just as bad as me. So it was fun. We had fun. We really did. I don't even want to tell you what the score is, but that's and that is about it, sir.
Okay, thank you. I attended the Arbor Day event as well, just briefly. I couldn't stay long, but I've had a lot of residents compliment the trees. Some that even don't live in Tooele, they drive to Grantsville and see those trees, and big hit. So thank you for that. The city cleanup, as everyone said, was excellent. Great turnout to that. Walked over to the Broadway block party, gave some input there. So wish we would have had a little bit more input, but excited to see what we can do with Broadway. And then the North Tooele Special Service District, we met last Thursday. They continue to do well down there. They'll be planting flowers soon in the median and then some of the strips, the parking strips. That's always looks really nice. They do a really good job maintaining that area. And I think that is all. That concludes my report. We will move on to our discussion items. The first discussion item we have is a discussion on Code 10-3-7, allowing large vehicles on certain streets. This is presented by Adrian Day, the police chief.
Thank you, council. I'm sad to hear the report because those were two of our best golfers, I thought. This is actually code 10-27, not 10-3-7. And I'm hoping, I'm proposing changes to this code and seeing if council agrees if I can bring it to a future business meeting. Under section 1, there's a definition under A, B, and C, and under A, it defines trucks that are licensed or actually. I'd like to remove that wording licensed or actually, because afterwards it talks about gross weight, and every truck driver understands what gross weight is. We have no problems. They get confused about that first definition. This is a request coming from our commercial vehicle inspectors, and a simple change. I want to make sure you'd support that one.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Section 2, the second half, and also section 3, item F, it talks about the chief of police given written permission for people to deviate from this truck route, to which I hesitate doing. I don't like it being in there. Heaven forbid the accident on November 3rd, 2023, they'd have a written permission from me or any city official when an accident happens. I think it's a civil problem. And under section 4, it's section 4, it defines when large vehicles can deviate, exempt ones, and when they can deviate from this. Traveling to a business, pickups, deliveries, construction trucks. I think that covers when they deviate. They don't need written permission from a chief of police to go somewhere else in the city.
So they can deviate just for specific reasons, like a delivery or...
Right. Of construction equipment, you name it. It even says traveling to a business. What it doesn't include is traveling to a home. It would if you're construction at a home, but if you live at a home, it doesn't include that. So if you wanted to make it available for truck drivers that own their own to bring it to their residence and they have a place to park it off the street, that could be added if you wanted. That's the only thing it doesn't add.
The other thing there is you do have semis that deliver to homes.
Yes, and that's included on there for deliveries. I think that
Okay.
it fits
All right.
for deliveries, pickups, construction deliveries. I think it
Okay,
covers.
all right.
I got from the city street supervisor, residential streets are about 3 inches. Heavy roads are 5 inches. The damage that they can cause to our streets is, Jamie could probably tell us better than me, but we pulled over a semi and trailer that turned off 36 onto Vine Street, went past the high school well it was in, turned right on Coleman, went through the crosswalk. Well, kids were actively being, helped across. Didn't create any problems. Then was headed to the depot. We pulled him over, and the truck inspectors found he was overweight. He was just under 100,000 pounds and only was rated for 80. And the damage that creates on Vine Street, Jamie could probably tell us. But we're not rated for trucks that heavy. They cause our asphalt to deteriorate at a much faster rate.
So is the weight determines where the truck can go, or is it if the weight's under 19,000, can they go on different routes? Or is it purely based on weight?
It's just those that can carry 19,000
Okay.
pounds or more. You do have B and C trucks rated for 1.5 tons or larger.
Okay.
That's a Ford 550 I looked up.
Yeah.
They're probably pulling more
That
than
might be like
19.
26,000 pounds, but yeah, that's like just a large truck.
Right. And we got to agree with C with the hazardous materials. So just want to make sure that you would support removing them getting written permission, and make sure you didn't want to add anything else to section 4.
I'm okay removing F, the written permission. Unless there was a legal reason that was put in there, I don't see why, like you're saying, why give written permission to deviate from it?
I've been asked every time we pull over, we have how many companies in town that are testing for the CDL? AB Trucking, Best CDL, Cabot Boutique, Truck Driving School, Tooele Tech, King CDL. They've been inspected, a lot of them, excluding Tooele Tech. Violations are a big part, but when we've had a UDOT approved tester in there running a UDOT approved route, which is not in compliance with our code, the UDOT instructor makes a big stink, and I get an influx of requests from the trucking schools for written permission. That's the only time I've been asked for that. When the UDOT route is deviating from our code, and we've given it to them several times. They keep forgetting or don't care.
Me too.
Okay, is there any other questions or discussion, additional changes?
I thought it was pretty thorough.
Yeah.
All right, section 5. We keep going. The parking of vehicles are under code 10.325.1. This is a civil citation. If you go to section 6, it says if it's driven, it's a Class B misdemeanor. If it's parked, it's a Class B misdemeanor. We'll remove parked and just keep the Class B for driving on a route that's not approved, and parked will remain under section 5. It's more of a technical error. It's not a Class B misdemeanor to park it. That will remain as civil. And lastly, the designated truck routes. You have the map in front of you. Drew Bay comes in from the north, goes all the way to Vine. Now that road is wide enough, but there's nowhere to go. We're making a parking lot on Drew Bay, which is fine. They're turning on Smelter most of the time, but a lot of them are coming down 400 north. Or 1,000 north. We need to create a route for them to go or eliminate that road. Same with Pine Canyon. It just goes between Drew Bay and 1280 north, and really nowhere to go. I don't know the reasoning for that one. Or Tooele Boulevard. We have 2 Tooele Boulevards. The one by the neighborhood just off of 200 West it goes to a park and residential area, that one shouldn't be included, but it has the same name as the wide road that comes off Utah Avenue and goes past Tooele Tech and Blue Peak. That road is sufficient, but there's nowhere to go. They go and park on 700 South. I see a lot out there where there's no houses. But when they leave, I think they just take 700 South to Main, most of them. I'm sure some turn around, but I propose we eliminate all roads besides the state roads, 112 and 36. These routes are providing, it's not a route, it's just nowhere to go. And Section 4 covers when they need to deviate from that route, if they're going to a place of business, if they're delivering. Or if you don't want to eliminate these 3 streets, we make them routes and give them away a place to go, a designated route to go. They're very confused when where else was I to go? I came down Tooele Boulevard and now I'm on 700 South. I'm just trying to head south of town.
So Tooele Tech has their trucks at the campus. If
Correct.
there's not a designated route, they just get on one as soon as they can?
So they would take 112 to Utah Avenue and they can go to a place of business to get to and from truck routes. Tooele Tech's allowed to do that. So is the trucking companies on the depot. They're allowed to go on Utah Avenue to reach the routes.
And is the only way to get truckers aware of this, is there signage that we post somewhere, or is it really just they're getting pulled over and that's how they find out?
We're pulling them over and they're finding out. A lot of them claim to have GPS for truck routes. The GPS show Coleman. They take Coleman. The GPS shows the easiest route. They're not, I think it'd be easier if they know they need to stay. Maybe we can post it on social media. If we could post it at the entry and exit of the city, make them aware you got to stay on the state roads unless you're delivering.
We've posted Coleman.
No trucks is what it
Several
says,
years
right?
ago, we posted all of those on Coleman and tells them the weight, and it seems like the only way to get them to stop is to pull them over and cite them.
Some of the problem
They
is
figure it out.
right. Some of the problem is the internet. It still shows the police department at 323 North Main where it used to be, and we cannot get them to change it to 50 North Garden.
It's engraved in history there.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
much as you don't want it to be, yeah.
So truck routes, I don't know if
Some years
Google.
ago, Coleman was a truck route, so
Yeah,
it used to be a truck route years ago, so it's probably still same thing.
yeah.
At one
That
point,
GPS
too,
forever.
we sent letters out to businesses that we knew were on the industrial depot, letting them know that please inform your truck drivers. Some of them have their own truck drivers, some hire independents, but we reminded them, don't come out of the depot and turn right and try to come up Utah Avenue to Main Street. That's not a truck route. So we can still do some more of that information just to get them to those businesses, especially the ones that have a lot of trucks going in and out. But at the end of the day, the chief and I have talked about this extensively, and it's a lot of it has to do with our roads, and we want to keep our roads, but it's the safety. There's children, there's cars driving on these other roads where these trucks do not belong. They don't belong in a residential neighborhood. Once in a while, when somebody gets a delivery, that's different. But to use it as a truck route is what we're trying to get away from. And there are, like the chief mentioned, several truck driving schools, and they're learning. And they just should not be in a residential neighborhood. We have really quickly access to those state roads. That's where they need to be. And if they need to learn how to drive those big trucks in what it would be in a residential neighborhood, then they need to have that on their site where they can do some of those maneuvers and practice there and not on our streets. So it's a huge safety issue.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
I'm good with
Just-
it.
I live on 200 South near the TATC and that trucking school. Trucks go on my street all the time, and it's very interesting, but we have our Wi-Fi wires, and Utah Power comes across the road, and that gets hit so many times. So, that's another reason why we don't want them to go down our residential neighborhoods, but, children, of course, safety is our first concern, but they do turn there. They turn there to find an access.
Find it interesting, they don't care about our citation, they care about the inspection, and it affects their federal license. So that's been a game changer for us.
Good.
So the map would remove those, it would just be the state roads, 112, 36 is the recommendation.
Correct.
All right. Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
All right, we'll bring it to our next business meeting and vote on it, so, not
Thanks,
tonight, the following.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll move on to our next discussion item, which is our budget discussion. We have presented by Shannon Wimmer, the finance director. It's an opportunity for the council to ask questions as well. That's what we're utilizing this as, so.
Yes, good evening, council. After presenting you with the tentative budget at the last council meeting, we just wanted to give you an opportunity to see if there were any specific items you wanted to discuss about the budget or any specific questions that you may have, anything you would like me to review for you. I didn't receive any specific questions, so I don't have a presentation per se prepared, but just here, happy to answer any questions that you might have or discussion you may want to have.
Okay, are there any questions?
I just wondered, are these changes that you had presented, maybe we could go over the changes that were given to us
Absolutely.
tonight?
Yes, so since we presented that budget, we have just a few minor changes, and we'll just go over those real brief. I did leave those for you today. The first one is in the IT department. They were able to get some pricing on some monitoring software that the server really needs to help them do their monitoring and get notifications of any problems or anything that they may have in the IT department. And that software is $15,000, so we are requesting that we put that in there. They think that that is very much needed for them to keep us safe. And then we have, the other one's just $9, but I didn't want to change it without letting you know. That is just for our public defenders. We do give them the same COLA increase each year, and so just so we don't have to pay them 19 cents, it just rounds it to a firm number of 50 cents. So it was actually like 46 cents. So that was just $9. And then the Public Works Director has asked for some funds to include in the road projects, and that was $200,000 in the slurry sill project and $400,000 in the road improvements so that he can complete the needed road projects that he wants to do this year. And they did have the money in that fund, so we're just asking to allocate that for road projects.
I have no questions because I haven't had time to look at the budget, but hopefully this next week I can, so you might
Absolutely.
get 30 questions.
Perfect, no problem.
Any other questions?
No, I thought it was pretty straightforward. It's a good budget.
Yes.
I think it helps so we had our budget retreat. I don't know if I love the term retreat. I feel like people think we're like going
need a
to
new
Park
term.
City or
We
something.
need a
Yeah.
new term for that,
meeting upstairs.
absolutely.
Budget meeting upstairs in the
meeting.
conference
Yeah, maybe
room.
our budget kickoff or something, yeah.
But I really liked how we sat down, the mayor asked all the council, like, what's our priorities as a council? And it really got us all on the same page early. A lot of times our priorities line up, which is good. That makes it a lot easier. But I think that the way that we did it, it doesn't create a lot of questions for me because the mayor was concerned about the priorities of the council. We shared our concerns with her. And it made the budget go really smooth. So I think we have a good process that's working, so.
And that's an excellent point, Chairman, because there has obviously been a lot of discussion on the budget. I don't want the public to think that there is no discussion. We have had extensive budget discussions, and as you know, we have our kickoff meeting. And like you said, it is our goal, the goal of the mayor as the budget officer, and then also of the staff to first get what the priorities of the council are. We want to take that all into consideration before we even present you with a tentative tentative budget so that we do our best to give you the budget, not only that the budget officer feels is fair and needed, but also that includes the council's priorities so that we aren't spending the next month trying to reverse everything. We all want to be on the same page. And as you can see, that process works very well, and I appreciate that everybody is on board with that. But there has definitely been extensive discussions about the budget and what expenditures will be. So, good point.
Should we mention that our priorities were people?
Yes.
I mean, that's always a top priority, and then maintenance, because we talked a lot, I think, about at our budget kickoff about not delaying things to make things more expensive in the end, but maintaining things as we go.
Right.
I think.
Council, I do have one correction that I would like to make in my presentation. A couple of weeks ago, I informed you that included in the budget was a 2% cost of living increase for the employees. We went back and forth so many times that this is good news. It is a 2.5% cost of living that is included in that budget rather than a 2%. So I apologize for the misspeaking on that, but it's a little bit more for our employees.
And just as a clarification, I believe it was at 2.5 when our HR director gave you those numbers. It was always 2.5. It was just said
It was.
2.2%. But
I have a question. I guess it's not so much budget, but are people using the 50/50 sidewalk program or is it not something that the community's really utilizing?
Jamie would be better to speak on if he thinks that they're utilizing, but if you look in your 41 fund capital projects, we do have like estimated revenue from that. So it looks like this year, again, this is just an estimate to get us through June 30th. We'll have more solid numbers coming up, but we've brought in about $20,000, 21,000. We think we'll bring in about 21,000, which means we've done about $42,000 in projects, right, in the sidewalk replacement program. So I'm not sure what we're aiming for in a year or what we would consider good usage. I'll let Jamie speak to that if you would like to. But and then we are carrying all of those funds that we have for that forward each year because we do want to keep that project going and get those sidewalks replaced. That's been a
Is that
big
the
priority of the mayor.
400,000 that's listed? The interest income or?
So
because
if you, excuse me, if you look, so on your 41 fund on page 29 of your budget, under miscellaneous, that first line item is 3415,200. That's just the revenue coming in. So should be 50% of the projects that we're doing, right? Because the city matches 20%.
Right.
So the public has paid almost 21,000 or an estimate to pay 21,000, which means we did about $42,000 in projects because the city is paying the other half of those.
Yeah, and with that, are we getting it out for the citizens to know that they can do it? I know we've had it in, I think we've had it in 90 North Main and a couple others, but I'm just saying it because I honestly feel that there's people that would probably do it, but they just don't know. Because we do have a lot of people that, well, you got that group that leaves in the winter and comes back, and a lot of them don't know it.
Yeah, we put that out. That goes out in the 90 North Main. I think it's on the website. We have a few areas where that goes out. I don't know who accesses that or if it gets to that point. We do have a lot of applications that come in.
Okay.
When we process so those applications, we only get a handful of those that actually come in and pay the 50/50. Once they find out, oh, it's $9,000, I owe $4,500, I just don't have the money for that. And so sometimes they won't come in and pay their share. We don't initiate that or put that into effect until that payment has been made. So we just go based off of the applications that come in and those who pay. And if somebody doesn't pay, then sometimes they might downgrade. They might be like, well, my whole frontage is not bad. Maybe this is really bad, so maybe I can see what this would cost. And we just kind of do a section, that might be bad. So we kind of leave it up to them on what they can afford and can't afford. But we're willing to work with them and make it happen.
And the program, because at one point we had set aside money, right? This is my understanding.
Yes.
It still has 136,000 in there.
Yes.
Okay,
We're
that's,
still carrying it forward.
I was on the wrong page for a second. I was on
So
the
we are still
revenue
carrying that,
looking here.
that money forward and also adding to it whatever revenue that we bring in. So
Okay.
we're adding that revenue
Perfect.
back into the program as well. And then just to clarify, of course, Jamie's department still works on replacing sidewalks. This program is just to get you a priority and get yours to the front of line and get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we have somebody that has a really bad sidewalk and that sidewalk is just in really bad shape, sometimes we'll say that we'll just take care of it. We won't do it as a 50/50. So that we'll just take care of it, and that's how we get it taken care of. If somebody's sidewalk might not be in that bad a shape, but they're willing to do 50/50, then we get it done. So it's better to have new sidewalk than
If we do it at
sidewalk that's-
100%, we're not, are we pulling from this fund though, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done quite a bit with that this year. We've had sections on 200 West down by the pool and a lot down Utah Avenue. There was some there's some handicapped people at Remington Apartments that we've kind of fixed some of those sidewalks to get those people to SR 36 and down 200 West.
I think
Council,
it's great, yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you, Jeff is so phenomenal in the streets department. He truly is. We have a resident call and we contact him and he is like right on it. What might slow us down is just getting the contractors. But I mean, from Remington Park to Main Street is a big jaunt, and it is pretty much complete. All of that has been repaired so that those people have access. They also like to go up 200 West to the park, to the pool, or to the Vine Street Market there. That has all been repaired on the one side, so the west side. So they have easy access for their wheelchairs and just the disabilities to be able to get up there. And they are thrilled. The residents are just have been taken care of. But all over town this past year, the trees that have been removed or cut back, and especially the ones that are lifting up sidewalks, I don't know how many, because there has just been so many requests, and the streets department is taking care of them. So as you look in the budget where those sidewalk repairs are, that we do keep separate, the sidewalk repairs separate from the 50/50, just so that we kind of keep an eye on it. If we decide that we want to use some of one for another, we would let you know. But those line items, we really do keep separate, because the more we do 50/50, the more we put money back in it, and we keep having money in that account. And that's what we want to, is to be able to get the repairs done, but keep ongoing money if we can to repairs. It's overwhelming, but I just tell you, I'm impressed by their ability to just get these things done, so appreciate them.
So the sidewalk replacement program is the,
Yes, and so I
Yes.
was just going to point that out. You have in the 41 fund, your 616000, that's your 50/50. And then we also replace sidewalks out of the 733-417. It doesn't look like there's a budget carried forward in that one, so we'll work on that.
Because they're working on some right now, so we have to, just so that we talk about budget discussions and budget meetings, we have budget meetings with staff scheduled for the next 2 weeks that we will go over their budgets to see what projects are in process but are not completed and won't be completed by June 30th. We'll make sure that money is still in the 41 to cover those projects, and because they're working today. And it's difficult. The budget being in the middle of the year, it's not like just everything's done on June 30th and we start July 1st with something new. It's very difficult to make sure we get bills right and projects done right. So I just appreciate all the help that Shannon gives to the staff and those department heads that are keeping track of all of this stuff. But we
So-
will have more budget meetings.
Yeah, we will be bringing you, we call them carryover projects, but, expenditures that you have approved this year that don't get finished will be carried over to next year, and that sidewalk program or replacement will be included in those, just as she said.
Marisa had mentioned that we like to plan ahead, and I think that was something we did really well a few years ago, is
Yes.
we finally just ripped the Band-Aid off and said, let's put money aside and fix sidewalks. It was talked about for years, right, fixing sidewalks, but it never happened. So I want to make sure that there's money in that fund still, and that's why I'm asking these
Yes,
questions.
and in addition to the expenditures on the 50/50, we've spent $172,000 on just replacing sidewalks that Jamie was describing.
Okay. I think that's all my questions for now. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Okay, appreciate it.
A question for the council, do we want to just put a budget item on the work meeting, and then as questions come up, we kind of have time, like for the next meeting, we can just have a set-aside budget discussion, and as you get questions, you can email Shannon, and that way she can prepare more if she needs to, and
Yeah, or you're welcome to call me, come meet with me,
Holler,
whatever
yeah.
you'd like. Because I believe we have one more council meeting until we adopt this at the second meeting in June.
okay. All right, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Item 6 is a closed meeting. We have nothing for a closed meeting tonight, so we will move to item 7, which is to adjourn.